Hi, I'm Alice.
And I'm Greg.
And today we're here in Chapultepec Park.
Chapultepec Park is the largest park in the Americas, and it's located right in the heart of this megalopolis, Mexico City. I'm going to show you where it is right now. So turn around, you can see the park behind me. There is Paseo de la Reforma heading down that way into the heart of the city.
Chapultepec Park is a great place for a leisurely walk. You can rent bikes and ride through it. You can just enjoy a day doing exercise out in public, if that's your thing.
Yeah.
There's also a number of museums you can visit. And it's hard to sometimes record because there's a lot of people.
We're here at the end of the year during the winter holidays, and it seems like half of Mexico City is here in Chapultepec Park. But why not? Because it's a beautiful place to relax and enjoy a sunny day.
Yeah.
The word Chapultepec comes from Nahuatl, the language of the Aztecs. It means hill of the grasshoppers. Long before there was a castle here, the site was of great importance to the Aztecs.
It's bigger than Central Park, filled with a wide variety of trees, plants, and lakes. It also has art, history, natural history, anthropology, and children's museums, botanical gardens, a zoo, an amusement park, and even a castle.
Chapultepec has the distinction of being the only castle within North America to have ever housed sovereigns. The castle construction began in 1725, while Mexico was still under Spanish rule. It was built at the request of the Viceroy of New Spain, as Mexico was known at the time, Bernardo de Galvez. Later, after Mexico won its independence from Spain, it became a military academy. We're up on top of Chapultepec Hill, and this is the location of the Castillo de Chapultepec.
And it's quite a hike. Be prepared. Wear flat shoes or tennis shoes because it's a little bit of a hike.
During the Mexican-American War, the castle was at the center of a bloody battle. It was the site of the Battle of Chapultepec, which took place September 13, 1847. 6 cadets refused to surrender to the U.S. forces, which greatly overpowered them. They defended the castle until the end, and when victory seemed impossible, one cadet named Juan Escutia wrapped himself in the Mexican flag and threw himself from the tower, rather than to allow the U.S. troops to capture the Mexican flag. This memorial commemorates the 6 Niños Héroes, the cadets who died in defense of Mexico City on the 13th of September, 1847.
In 1861, France, Spain, and England had invaded Mexico in efforts to force Mexico to settle its debts. Mexico negotiated repayment agreements with Spain and England, but the French refused. Instead, with the support of Mexican conservatives, Emperor Napoleon III invited Maximilian von Habsburg to establish a pro-French Mexican monarchy. Of course, Mexico already had a legitimate president named Benito Juarez, but we'll circle back to that. In 1864, Chapultepec Castle would become the home of Emperor Maximilian von Habsburg and the Empress Carlotta. That empire lasted from 1864 to 1867. The forces backing the Republic and those backing the empire would never find peace, and in 1867, Maximilian would be captured and executed.
After the fall of the empire, the castle would house more utilitarian endeavors. It became an astronomical, meteorological, and magnetic observatory for a short time. It also housed a few presidents, but in 1939, President Lázaro Cárdenas turned it into the National Museum of History.
And if its rich history doesn't impress you, it was also the setting for Baz Luhrmann's 1996 film version of Romeo and Juliet, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. We made it to the Anthropology Museum, but there's a huge line today, so we're not going to take you inside. We want to recommend that you come midweek and not during the holidays because it's a great museum, but if it's crowded, you might be rushed through the exhibits. So take a look at the line.
And you can't see the end. We were lucky enough to catch the Voladores de Papantla preparing to perform an ancient but well-known ritual. Originally performed from the top of a tall tree, today a 30-meter, or nearly 100 feet for those of us who are metrically challenged, metal post serves the purpose of supporting the 5 birds of the earth, pájaros de la tierra. The pole symbolizes a connection point between the sky, the earth, and the underworld. At the top of the pole, the 5 flyers, or voladores, prepare for their perilous descent by securing themselves with ropes. The 4 ropes are each wound 13 times for a total of 52. 4 of the participants will be the flyers and throw themselves off the top of the post, circling it a total of 13 times each as they descend. The 5th will stay on top, playing a flute and drum. According to Totonac myth, there was once a severe drought which brought the failure of crops, hunger, and death to the Totonac people. The people believed that the gods were angry because they had been neglected. The drought was punishment for this neglect. The elders and spiritual leaders of the community devised this ritual to honor the gods and ask for rain and fertility to return. The ritual was successful and the drought ended. Because of its success, it was adopted and performed continuously. The ritual spread to other parts of Mexico and even Central America. In some places, the voladores wear feathers and appear more bird-like. For example, in Mayan mythology, the ritual is associated with a bird deity known as Itzamna.
In the Totonac ritual, the 4 voladores represent the 4 cardinal directions as well as the 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water. The 5th volador, or the caporal, represents the sun. Today, the Voladores of Papantla are the ones most closely associated with the performance of this ritual. However, they are not the only ones who still practice it. And while the Totonac elders forbid women from participating, other communities are more inclusive and have allowed women to become flyers.
There are 2 art museums a short walk from the Anthropology Museum: the Tamayo Museum of Contemporary Art and the Museum of Modern Art. We opted for modern art today. As we walked over, we enjoyed the reproductions of art from the Prado Museum in Spain. We reached the Museum of Modern Art with just a little over an hour before the museum's 5:30 p.m. closing time.
Admission price is 65 pesos, or about $3.25 USD. Admission is free on Sundays. And if you have your teacher ID, student ID, or INAPAM card, you get in free too.
The museum features the works of Frida Kahlo, José Chávez Morado, David Alfaro Siqueiros, José Clemente Orozco, and Remedios Varo, but not all the artists' names will be familiar. These are some of the pieces that caught our interests.
Aside from their permanent collection, they have temporary installations as well. The one we saw was about feminist art, which is a subject that I'm very interested in. We walked around until the guard gave us the 5 minutes to closing warning, and then we reluctantly left. We walked back towards Colonia Condesa, which is an easy walk from Chapultepec. It was time for dinner, late lunch / early dinner. We ended up at El Rincón, a place with the most delicious enfrijoladas. Take a look and try not to salivate.
Some of you may have noticed that we shot our footage at Chapultepec Park over a couple of visits, but rest assured that if you come to Ciudad de Mexico, Chapultepec Park can keep you busy for at least a week.
So we'll definitely take you back. Come with us so you can see what this enormous park has to offer. And be sure to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss it when we do go back.
Thanks for joining us. If you've enjoyed our content, please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe.
We'll see you next week.